Hey guys, this is part two. It's actually been a couple of days now since part one, so since it all kind of rolls in together, I'm just gonna throw them both up at the same time. Um, there's been a couple of things that went really right, and a couple of things that have some question marks about them. But we're gonna do some walking around and show you what's happened. And what the plan is for the next few days to a week. So let's check out what we got. So walking over here when I left you off last time, we were going to take apart the front end. Well, we got the front end completely tore apart, and just like I was advised, there was not a lot of weight on the front end. We were missing a bumper and then a bunch of sheet metal, and then of course, if you're doing this thing full of fluids, a bunch of fluids. So getting the springs back in was kind of a real pain. I started off on this driver's side here, trying to get everything back together, and I had a hell of a time with the spring compressor. The one that I ordered was very thick. The inside part was very thick, and I had it all compressed and got everything bolted and nutted back up, the spindle on and everything, and then went and released the tension on the spring, and I couldn't get that spring compressor out of the spring. So I ended up having to shove the jack underneath the edge of the lower control arm there and let it down. I had to break the ball joints loose again and then let it down real nice and easy. And that was pretty sketchy. But everything's back in. The only issue that we have, though, is there was no way I was going to get the ball joints seated back up, or at least started anyways, with these bump stops for the upper control arms. And if you look now where those are supposed to go, there's no way those are going in there. But when you look at the spring, it's kind of oddly shaped in there, so I think it's still got a seat down. Hopefully just running it down the gravel will get it to move a little bit, and I can put those bump stops in there. We did not save the calipers. They were pretty far gone, so I just opted to get a set of rebuilt calipers from Napa. Got new wheel bearings, new rotors, pads. Everything there is new except for the spindles and the disc brake hardware mounting kits. This was a factory disc car, so everything was already there. So that's how the front end goes. I still have to connect that sway bar. Just noticed that. But there is not a lot of movement on this thing. I've gotten up here and jumped around on it. It doesn't move very much. So I have the carburetor bagged up because I had to take this thing outside and hose it off. It was getting kind of dusty on the fresh paint, so I needed to hose it off, clean it up. One thing that I did end up having to do additionally on the front end is a new idler arm. This thing was slopping around in there real bad. I have the tie rod ends soaking in penetrating oil because I tried to adjust them, and this one was not moving. The other one was moving a little bit on the other side, the upper tie rod end, but this one was not moving at all. I still have to run my brake hoses. You can see the terminations there. The banjo's still loose, but it's all in. This thing looks nutso from straight on. It is way cambered negative and a lot of toe out. I'm assuming once the springs settle and those lower control arms come more level, at least from what I was told on one of the forums, that should happen, and that camber will kind of adjust back out. And that should give me room for that bump stop to go back in there. It may affect the toe just a little bit because of the caster angle. But I'm probably still going to have to turn those out just to move it, because right now I'd probably tear this thing apart if I tried driving it. Just rolling it's kind of tough. Additionally, I don't think I did much in here. I messed around with the steering column. I did end up throwing the steering column in to try to steer it a little bit better, only to realize that the body guy still has my key for my steering column. So just this morning I went ahead and had this thing up on the bench and just took the lock cylinder out. It's old, it probably needs redone anyway, and I'm getting a whole new set. Started doing some refurb on the brake mounting, because that's going to be next. Getting the disc brake booster and master cylinder installed. I kind of got it mocked up last night just to make sure everything was going to line up, and it looks like it's fine. It was throwing me for a loop because I forgot about these brackets, and I was looking at these 4 mounting bolts that they have and corresponding to the firewall, and I said, oh no, this isn't going to work. I was like, dummy, brackets set off there. The other thing that I'm worried about is I'm using a Hydromax clutch kit for the hydraulic throwout bearing. It's in the trunk and it's closed. And it's got no key, so I have to use a screwdriver. So I'm not going to show you that yet. But it's supposed to, that's the original hole for the clutch. The Hydromax has a square that's about that big. We'll see how everything goes. It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure. I've requested a couple of Facebook posts on a couple of groups sending me some pictures of how you guys ended up installing these things on your 69 to 74 Novas, or 67 to 69, I think Camaros have the same firewall. But we'll see how it goes. That Hydromax kit is supposed to be the bee's knees. So I guess that's all I got. Oh, I did do both the rear drums. They were completely disassembled. So that was a trip trying to figure out exactly how all those things and springs and brackets went again. But I got her done. E-brake cable is still hanging down there. One thing that did come was, it's back up there, is my exhaust. So I went with the Jegs exhaust, just a 2.5 inch aluminized true duals, no crossover or X-pipe or anything. I liked how it sounded last time with the 454. And this engine's kind of got a little bit milder cam note to it, so hoping it sounds pretty good. I wanted to get the stainless, but they were back ordered to October, so that wasn't going to happen. So I saved $50 and went with the aluminized. I'm only going to be driving this thing during the summertime, so the aluminized should do just fine. So I guess that's going to be it for what we've done. What we plan on doing is the brakes, the clutch, getting all those lines changed out. That's part of what's behind me is that taller box back there is brake lines, all new brake lines. So get those on, hopefully get all that stuff done by the end of the week. And then this weekend, I'm not going to be here. We're going to be out of town, going on a little mini vacation. And then next week, I'm hoping I can start putting the exhaust in, get those headers on, get those exhaust pipes hung up, and see how it all fits. For actual mufflers, we went with a 2.5 inch MagnaFlow. I really like those MagnaFlows. I think those MagnaFlows just look awesome. But I'm showing my timer is at 10 minutes, and I really don't want to go over 10 minutes. So I'm going to let you guys go. I will update you guys in a few days when we get more of this brake stuff and clutch stuff figured out. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 3.